Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation E3 2021 prediction show from Cube 3. My name is Neil Flint, and I'm joined here by Sandy Kirchner-Wilson.
Hey.
Lily Kirchner-Wilson. The movement that matters, Mike McCann.
Hi.
And the very, very slightly tanned Luke Hemming. The sunlight's going to be tanning you by the end of the day, Luke. Now, the Sony E3, and we should mention this, the Sony E3 show has not actually been announced. They're not going to be officially attending E3. They're going to be attending their own thing, but we don't have a date yet. But we just assume that it's happening and it's coming up soon. But hey, who knows? It might not happen. It might not have a date at all. These are our predictions if it does. Now, I'm going to throw to you, Luke, straight away. We're going to talk about our predictions. None of these things have been announced yet, so let me know what you wish to have at the event.
Final Fantasy Origins. That is my one wish for this. Yep. We know we're going to see Remake 2. That is happening. It's an easy win for Sony. Whack that up on the screen at the end. Sony exclusive.
So just explain to people who might not know, what is Final Fantasy Origins?
So Final Fantasy Origins is the heavily rumoured, pretty much confirmed remake of Final Fantasy 1, but in a Dark Souls style, which is very exciting. But they've also said, but they haven't said, they've allegedly said that there'll be some, it'll be a lot more accessible. So there'll be difficulty options. It's not going to be as difficult as Dark Souls, but they're certainly taking that as the inspiration. And that's a great idea.
An entry point into the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah, definitely. And I think hopefully with some online component, Final Fantasy always gives you your team of different job classes. So I'd like to see maybe you play online with 4 other people and they can jump in, jump out. That would be a fantastic game. And I'm hoping that not only exists, but we at least get something about it.
Do you think this will be a PlayStation exclusive?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly a timed exclusive. I know that I think they're doing the same for Remake 2 as well. From the interviews I've read, that when that comes out, it's going to be a year or so before it reaches anything else. So, yeah, good time to have a PS5.
No, fair enough.
For a Final Fantasy fan, at least.
Sandy, you're a Final Fantasy fan. Does that excite you? Is there anything else also on your list that you want and wish to have?
Yeah, Final Fantasy Origins sounds like an amazing concept. I think sort of more slow considered, maybe even spooky Final Fantasy 1 could be a very interesting concept. Outside of Final Fantasy, I feel like we might see something from Kojima's team, because we know he's working on something. We know it's going to be big. We know Sony's behind it. I mean, it'd be very interesting if it surfaces that he's maybe doing a Silent Hill, or maybe even bought back the right for Metal Gear, maybe something else in that series. Otherwise, maybe even Death Stranding too. That could be an interesting concept, because the first game was very interesting, and with a bit more time, maybe he could make it even more interesting.
Okay. No, again, PlayStation exclusive, you think, from Kojima?
Oh, definitely. I don't think he can even do non-exclusive other than maybe a PC release after.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I would love to see a Kojima game. To be honest, it would be amazing if he could work back on the Metal Gear Solid franchise. I don't think it's going to happen. There have been rumors about Silent Hill over the last year or so, whether that comes to fruition as well. We know that he was working on that Silent Hills thing before that whole thing, so it'd be really interesting to see what happened there. Mike, have you got any wishes and desires? We'll come back around as well, by the way.
One thing I was thinking would be quite cool, like Bend, obviously they've had the whole discussion about Days Gone and stuff, and said they're going to do a new IP now. But I would love to see a new Siphon filter from them. Just bring back that. That would be awesome to see. Other than that, a lot of people are talking about Uncharted again. It's been, I think, about 5 years, maybe. I don't know, don't fact check me on that. Between Uncharted 4 and now. And I know that was sort of the end of Nathan Drake's story. but very likely they're not going to leave that franchise on the floor. It's basically, I'd probably argue it's the biggest PlayStation franchise currently. So,
do you think they'll make a sequel to the spin-off? I can't remember what it was called now.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
Very, very possible. Yeah. Or I think it could be likely that they do like a passing of the torch to Nathan Drake's daughter or something like that. I could see being quite likely, or even maybe playing as Sully younger, or Nathan's brother Sam. What was he up to in between, or something would be awesome.
Younger might be the way to go with the film coming out.
Yes,
that'd be a good little tie-in there.
Well, they could just do it.
Get people go to watch it.
Just out of interest, is it not a real film, Luke?
No, it's not. In my brain, that film does not exist.
Okay.
What would you feel? How would you feel if they did a version with Marky Mark and Spider-Man in it as the game models?
Nice dated reference there. No, I boycott. I can't be done with this Uncharted film. But okay. I think it would be a good tie-in if they did that. It'll certainly shift some ticket sales.
I agree with otherwise. I do agree with Mike in terms of core IP that I think of when I think of PlayStation. I would say Uncharted is up there, and it's probably carried them through for the last couple of generations. So I'd be surprised if there wasn't something in the works, whether we see it at E3 or not. I'd be really surprised. Let's move on to you then, Lily. What are your hopes and dreams for E3 this year? Have you got anything?
I would love Persona 6.
Persona 6.
I think it's about time. I don't think there was any rumors or anything. At least I've not picked up on any. And they did Persona 5 Royal, and that was great. But you think they have time to do something else, something big. So I'm hoping there's news about Persona 6. It's about time.
Is there anything you would change about Persona 5 Royal to, be improved upon in Persona 6?
I would like a character selection, to have 2 characters to choose from, maybe a male, female. I think that you could also they're heavily relying on the whole relationships, and so far it's been you could date. You were obviously a male character, you could only date females. I would like to see that it would be just a bit more open. You can date any gender, no matter what gender you're choosing to play as. Because I think that you can immerse yourself more in a story if you can choose what you more identify with as a gender, and then you can choose who you want to date as you are thinking, or as what you would like to date. I think it's about time we make that step as well in Persona, because other than that, I think those games are pretty good. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay, well let's move back around to you then, Luke. Let's start again. Where would you go next then?
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, let's just have a little trailer for that, just to know that it's happening. Miles Morales, I don't want to think how many PS5s that sold based purely on that game. So keep it going. Get Spider-Man 2 out. Always great games. Been some of the best superhero games I've ever played. And if I didn't have a PS5 now and was on the fence, maybe if I'd had Miles Morales on the PS4, that would be a day one purchase.
Spider-Man's a system seller, if you ask me. I got my PS5 with Miles Morales. I got the Ultimate Edition because I wanted Spider-Man Remastered. I hadn't played the PS4 version. So I've just actually gone through it now. I've completed it. I'm going through the DLC, and I'm going to move on to Miles. I think having Spider-Man 2 there in as upcoming thing, it'd be great. I think Spider-Man, the movie's coming out at the end of the year as well. But I don't think Spider-Man 2 would come out this year. But I do think we should start to see it, or an announcement, even if it's just a logo reveal. I think that'll get people really.
The story in them is so good that they hold up in every respect, and I think that I've got a nephew who plays it, absolutely loves it, but then his dad as well, who's a massive comic book fan, couldn't believe how detailed and in-depth the story was, and how emotional that story was.
Yeah. So I won't go into any spoilers, but I thought the end sort of end trailer, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it, post credits, I thought was great. It was something you're probably expecting as you're playing the game without going into any detail, but that that sets itself up for its sequel very nicely, and I think people will be very happy to see that get announced. That's for sure. Okay, Sandy, let's move on to you. Do you have a you have another prediction?
So I don't have a prediction as such, but I have a wish.
Okay.
We've had Crash Bandicoot 4. It was 4, right?
Yep.
And if Crash can get a new game and it lives up to the hype, it lives up to being a sequel with the previous games, we need a new Spyro.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pandemonium.
I mean, Spyro Reignited was like pitch perfect. This is the Spyro one that you originally wanted to play. This is how it is in your memories. And I think if they could then take that momentum and go, here's a new Spyro game, new world, new characters, some returning characters, and I don't know, like ray trace lighting and all those fancy little tech things, I'd hop on that.
Yeah, I think from Crash Insane Trilogy then to Crash 4, it's worked very well. Obviously, like you said, they had the Reignited trilogy. Surely Spyro 4 makes sense. But, there's been some shifting at Activision here. And Mike's got a finger in the air. So go on, Mike.
I just want to digress slightly and ask everyone if you could bring back a one-character platformer, who would it be? I'd go with Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim?
Yeah.
I think Earthworm Jim would be really interesting just on the basis that no one knows him anymore. So I think everyone here probably knows Earthworm Jim, but is Earthworm Jim still relevant in 2021? Sorry, Earthworm Jim fans.
It could be.
That's a resounding no there.
but going back to Spyro 4.
The guy who wants Pandemonium.
Yeah, I would like to see Spyro getting resurrected for a new game rather than just reignited for 3 old games.
I think with Toys for Bob has been sort of merged into Blizzard.
Yeah,
right?
they now work on Call of Duty, I think,
Yeah,
at the moment.
I can't see it happening. Luke, I think just staying with the Activision train here for a second. There's probably another game that you probably want to happen from Activision, but now we know that I think is it Vicarious Visions have also been moved to Blizzard or something.
Yeah, this is my wish, but also with a little hint of maybe some real truth in it. For all the kids here, there was an interview with one of the I think it was the bass player for CKY, because you all remember CKY,
yeah,
Bam Margera's band. And they spoke to him about Tony Hawk, and they said, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is out. Is your music in it? Are you going to get any DLC with quite a bit of beings? I think was CKY's song in there. And he said, oh no, we're not in this one, we're in the next one. Which could just be like insane, but could mean a 3 and 4 remaster. Because I think CKY were in 4, I want to say.
Bam was definitely playable in 4.
Yeah, it makes sense that they would have put CKY in that one then.
Yeah. I would
if that
absolutely love to see a 3 and 4 remake. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remastered or remake or whatever. Again, though, with the movements happened at Activision, it's not to say that other studios can't pick it up, but I just think...
what if it was like 80% done before they moved over?
To be honest, you could just realistically reuse the same engine. They've got the engine, cart over the maps and put a few... you've got the physics engine, you've got everything done. But okay, that would be a really, really interesting offering to see. Lily, let's come to you. Do you think there's going to be anything, whether it's new games or new hardware or anything like that? What do you reckon it could be?
There's been their PlayStation VR 2 in the in the back of people's minds. I think they showed off the controllers already and such. So I think if they didn't show off a bit more about that, that'd be a there'd be a big chance that they just pass by, which I think would be incredibly silly. So I wonder if this is something we can look forward to get more information on a new VR headset for PlayStation. Who knows?
What do you reckon? So if for everyone who's already got a PlayStation VR, what do you reckon they need to do to get people to upgrade or do differently?
I think wireless would be good. Just you are a bit. The wire is plenty long, but you are always a bit. If you move the wrong way, you're gonna just pull down your PlayStation or whatever.
Right.
So I think definitely something like that. I wonder if it's just possible to make it to make the graphics a bit nicer. When you actually wear it, because as of now, compared to what you see on the TV with what you see in a VR headset, there's a bit of difference.
Sure.
So yeah, something like that. And other controllers.
Yeah, with some analog sticks on there.
Yeah.
So we can move from spot to spot without
Yeah, definitely.
being teleported.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Okay,
Okay, well,
Arkham Knight 2 as well.
yeah. Oh, that would be. Do you know there'll be so many
Arkham VR is amazing.
games in VR? Yeah, it just phenomenal. Okay, and Mike, let's finish with you in terms of new predictions. Is there anything else that you think could come from PlayStation?
It's a bit of a boring answer, but I'm just going to say it again. New IP. I always want to see new IP.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, the most exciting Sony for me was when they were, like, announcing stuff like, Shenmue 3, and that's not new IP, though, but... like Last Guardian, and they were kind of taking these big risks on, mad ideas and stuff, and I want to see that Sony a bit more again.
Sure. Okay. I will go with. I think that they're gonna have a rival to Game Pass. I know they've got PlayStation Plus. I know they've got the whole things that they're doing at the moment, games from home or whatever they call it. But I definitely think there's going to be a new. Whether they unveil that TV offering that they sort of trialed out in Poland, where they had some movies as part of PlayStation Now or Plus, I think it's between the two. Whether they start adding a few more games, or whether all their first-party games will come day and date. I don't think their model works that way, but it would be very interesting because obviously Microsoft can do it. All the games that when you think about Microsoft and what they're going to show in their E3 presentation, they're all free if you've got Game Pass, which is phenomenal. Whether PlayStation just do, I don't know, a 10-hour trial or something to each of those games. Great. Sandy, I see you're slightly poised to say something in relation to this.
So I was originally going to respond to the VR without a cable, as lovely as that would restrict our technology significantly. I think we'd have to have pullbacks in the graphics and all sorts to support that. Hence Oculus 2 or whatever it's called, having limited scalability.
Quest, yeah.
That's the one.
Probably quite heavy on the whole battery department as well.
Also, obviously, you're talking about the idea of a Game Pass competitor. As well as that, I would like to see them activate their NvMe hard drive slot on the PS5 so that we can expand our storage finally.
Who's out of date? Who's out of space? Who's out of space on their PlayStation? Who's been out of space on their PlayStation since day one? So yeah, I think it needs to be done. It's insane that they have this there. It's probably one thing they have actually over the Xbox in terms of storage capability, and it's not been activated. Yeah. I wonder what is holding them up. It would be great to see some sort of hardware reveal on that as well. So
imagine if they just didn't solder it in.
All right. Well, then let's sort of trail it back a little bit and let's go back to things that have been previously announced. This coming Friday, the 11th of June, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is coming out. I don't think we're going to see anything from Sony on this. Maybe a little scissor trailer at one point to say that it's out. Or maybe that they've got a free demo, like expanded demo or something of it. I don't know. But that's coming out on Friday. Last of Us Remake. Who's a Last of Us fan here?
I only played the first one.
Well, there you go. So you got a remake of it now as well. So
Great.
is this confirmed? Is this all but confirmed? I mean, Sony did say that they were interested in making a remake of this. Whether they've shown anything is.
I don't know if it's confirmed. Now that you say that, I know that Naughty Dog said that they're likely working on something like that when they'd rather be working on something more creative. But I think it was maybe that it was said another Sony company was working on Last of Us, and then they weren't that pleased with the results, and it's been put back on Naughty Dog's list. I wouldn't be adverse to a remake, but
too early for a remake, Luke. When did you play the first one?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Did you play the remastered version? I'm assuming.
Yeah. So like way too early for me.
I don't know what. This surely can't be a thing. If it is, I'll be
we need Jack.
it's just weird to me. So
I don't understand it.
Yeah, like you say, Naughty Dog probably don't seem to want to do it either. Maybe they just thought it was an easy cash grab, but it's weird to me.
I mean, hopefully it comes to nothing and it's actually something else and it's been misconstrued in their information.
Yeah. Sandy, then, is there anything else that you think could be coming up? That sort
God
of
of War.
God of War?
God of War Ragnarok. I think, given that they've shown us only a logo, even though they're delaying the game to next year because they are struggling to record all their motion capture because of COVID, I would like to think that they've got even just a very small sizzle reel of like, here's Kratos and Atreus standing in the mountains or whatever, just going, this is what the new game will look like roughly. See you next year for fighting Thor or whatever.
Yep. Now, Lily, are you a God of War fan? Do you like these narrative-driven games that Sony do?
Yeah, so I liked the last one they did, but as I said, I'm notoriously bad with everything, anything action-based, really. I get through the tutorial if I'm lucky. So I usually watch my wonderful husband play instead. And I have to say, I think they did a really good job with the last one. Definitely, like, I really, really enjoyed it. I was always sitting there watching, always pushing for Sandy to continue playing. So something like that, again, just would be really nice. It looked really nice. It felt really nice. The story was really nice. Yeah.
As a quick closer to my thought on it, just to sorry to go over you there. I would like them to pull back the camera, make the action a bit faster, give us the Blades of Chaos, and just let us go ham on some enemies, old school God of War style, and then pull it all back in for the story scenes, because the action in the previous game was so slow and by the numbers, and the red arrow behind me flashed, I better roll. I think they need to pull the camera back out to make God of War's gameplay work.
You see, this is the reason why I love Spider-Man so much, actually. The combat in Spider-Man is just so fluid, so fresh, you're constantly going from one to one. And when you then go to other games, such as God of War, it just feels, I say slow and clunky, but it doesn't feel as fluid. And it's difficult, though, because sometimes God of War did sell really well. And so do you change it because people obviously are going back in to see that? Difficult one.
I think a big element of it is the cinematic thing as well. And I think that's one of Sony's big pushes, is they want to push towards this more cinematic feeling game, and God of War fits that remit perfectly. Yeah. So I don't think they'll pull away from that.
I agree.
To the walking cutscene.
Walking cutscene, yeah. I mean, we know what these are, and the thing is actually, here's something. It was a lie to tell us that there's going to be less of those things. The reason they put them in is for loading times. They put, elevator scenes. They put walking cutscenes because they're loading environments. They said that the PlayStation, the Xbox, they wouldn't have any of this. But I guarantee we're going to, because everything is still going to be on PlayStation 4. Do we think God of War is going to be on PlayStation 4? Well, we know it's going to be on PlayStation 4. It's been announced.
It's been confirmed, yeah.
Yeah. Do we think Last of Us Remake is going to be on PlayStation 4? I think it's going to be on PlayStation 4. Do we think Final Fantasy VII Part 2 is going to be on PlayStation 4? I think it's going to be on PlayStation 4.
It's because they wouldn't sell enough copies otherwise.
The install base is still huge.
Ratchet and Clank is the first, I think, is it?
Was Returnal on PS4?
No.
No.
Returnal and Demon Souls remake and Ratchet and Clank.
I think
Are they the only PS5 exclusives?
it's got to be
Astrobot.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were just saying there, Lily. Sony made a big statement saying there's a difference between generations. They weren't going to do what Microsoft were doing in terms of, and I think it's Microsoft that's forced their hand by having the whole smart delivery. But PlayStation said there's defined generations, and that when we move over to PlayStation 5, you're only going to get that PlayStation 5 experience with these games. And they made it sound like games like Ratchet and Clank and God of War and everything like that are going to be exclusive to PS5. The difference is that people are looking at it in the sense that if you're having to develop a game for PlayStation 4, is it holding back what the PlayStation 5 could do? Now, I don't know enough about game development to know whether that is going to be the case, but my thought process would be, if you're having to go all the way back to the base PS4 2012, 13, I mean, surely it's 10 years ago. Surely they're having to hold back stuff that make sure that it works on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So
I think the reality is that these games have been developed on PS4, prior to the PlayStation 5 release.
Yeah.
There's probably discussions on just transferring it to PlayStation 5, but they've probably got the build there, working. So it just makes sense to have a cross-generational thing.
Yeah. Well, we are running out of time. So what I will say is, are there any other showings? We've seen Horizon Forbidden West. By a show of hands, do you think this is going to show up in PlayStation? You think Horizon is going to show up?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we think James Bond could be we've seen a lot of first-person shooters get announced for Microsoft side. James Bond, I can imagine, will be multi-platform, but there is a James Bond game coming. By show of hands, do you think this is going to be on PlayStation 5 series? I think.
I'd like to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay then, and then one other thing, Mike, I'll come to you on this. Gran Turismo 7. So obviously, it's been 7 games in the series, probably more if you count GT Sport and a few others. Going to be shown.
Let's go. Yeah, come on. Let's go. It's
going to be GT7, Gran Turismo 7. Just not to get Grand Theft Auto fans excited about us skipping a number as well. But, I think it could rival Forza. I think it could be GT7 versus Forza this holiday.
They made such a big deal about it when the PS5 was released, and it
does look phenomenal though. I think it looks great.
Didn't they confirm it's also going to be PS4 and 5?
They have now,
which will
as well.
Potentially hold that back as well.
Yeah.
And then Luke, we'll close off with you very quickly. Mm-hmm. Whether it happens in Square Enix one or whether it happens in the Sony conference, do you think we're going to see Final Fantasy VII Part 2?
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think in the Square conference, but we'll see the same thing in the Sony conference. It'll be a 10-second trailer, same as they did with Final Fantasy Remake 1. I think that was, and Sandy will be able to confirm this, I think literally maybe a 20-second trailer. I think it was just Cloud,
one camera sweep.
Yeah, just walk in. They'll just do that again. Be Aeris looking at the City of Ancients, or like Sephiroth,
or the world map
with a massive sword,
or something completely different.
Yeah,
Bizak.
Yeah, that'd be good. Just
when's
all of it repeated with Zach instead.
When's the sort of bridge between Final Fantasy VII Part 2? I can't remember what it was called now. Got announced in the last State of Play.
Intergrade.
Yeah, when's
next
that?
week.
Yeah, Thursday.
Wow.
Something like
So
that.
wait, they've got Intergrade and Ratchet and Clank coming out.
Yeah, this is why I need more space on my hard drive, because as of Friday, I've got like 300 gigs worth of game to install, and I've got like 40 gigs left.
Damn, it's gonna be a big week. Okay, well, guys, thank you very much for joining me and everybody who's watching. Thank you very much for watching. We don't know if any of this is going to happen. Sony have not said a thing. I'm sure that by the time this video goes up, there's going to be something that gets announced, whether it be part of E3 and be part of the sort of Monday timing, whether it clashes with anyone, whether it be part of the Summer Games Fest, we just don't know at the moment. But guys, I do think one way or another, Sony is going to say something. And I think a lot of the things we talked about are going to show up. But for now, guys, thank you very much for joining me. That's been everything.
That's a new one.